Michigan State is in the process of firing head football coach Mel Tucker. The former CU coach was in his third year of at Lansing when he was accused of sexual harassment by activist Brenda Tracy. The university announced this week they plan to fire him and gave Tucker 7 days to respond and present reasons why he should not be terminated. Joining us now is our legal expert, Whitney Traylor, to talk about this. First of all, loyal CU fans are not big fans of Mel Tucker, Midnight Mel, we call him, for, leaving. But this whole case brings up a lot of questions about employment law itself and like the timing of firing him, right? And then these 7 days to respond, and they sent him a letter telling him, how does this all work out?
Right, so a lot of this is from in his contract, and so it will say, and that's why the with cause or without cause is important. So it will say, hey, if you're terminated, here's the process that we will go through. So this is essentially what we call due process, substantive and procedural due process. So before they're taking his property right, his job, he's entitled to certain due process, to know what he's accused of, to be able to present his defense and things like that. So in his contract, so it says they first have to give him a notice of intent to terminate his contract, which they did send on September 18th. He then has 7 days to respond to that, so his response is due on Monday. There's a hearing scheduled for October 5th with the Title IX office to determine what exactly happened. So what he's saying is, wait a second, we have a hearing on the 5th, and your investigation's ongoing, and you've now terminated me. You've made a decision without the investigation being over. So that's the reason for the process. It's really in his contract.
Is that unusual to see an employee lose their job before an investigation is done?
No, it's not unusual. It is something that is used against them, though. So in my practice, I practice employment law, and that's the number one argument you would make when you're in front of a jury or a hearing officer is, hey, this is supposed to be an impartial process. He's supposed to get this investigation, this right, and this, and they terminated him before that process was even over. Or if somebody is on probation, let's say they're on a 90-day probation, and it says, you won't be terminated during your probation period unless these things happen. And they terminate during the probation. And then the person says, you didn't even give me a chance. That's the purpose of the probation. So employers have to really pay attention to what they're promising.
He's already released a very scathing statement. And part of what he is saying is it was a consensual relationship on some level, but also this wouldn't have been blown up if it had not come out in the media, and the university reacted the same way.
Right. And I think that's exactly what he's saying, and that's the argument. And I think the university's response is, hey, and they have a moral turpitude clause in his contract. So he says anything that's going to bring embarrassment to the university. And they're saying in the investigation, you admitted to flirting with her and some of these other things. And so they're saying, that's the end of it.
If this woman pursues a legal route, who is the defendant here?
Yeah.
Is it the coach?
Right,
that's
a
the university?
great question.
Is it both?
It's both, and probably other people. It's probably the board, the university, the coach, you name a number of people, because in here what we're talking about is employment law is basically agency principles. So it's like, look, this person was working on behalf of the university. They're a representative of the university. So in some cases, both the agent, so that would be the coach, and the principal, the university, can both be liable. And so they're gonna, I would suspect there would be a lawsuit on both. And then Coach Tucker may actually have a lawsuit too, because if he says, hey, I was improperly terminated, he'll have a wrongful termination and a breach of contract saying this was not for cause, they didn't follow the process. And then likely what will happen, because this contract has about $80 million left on it,
huge.
It's 10 years, I would be shocked if this case didn't settle, because nobody wants to try that, spend all the time. The university has a lot of risk with $80 million on the line. He has a lot of risk because he may walk with nothing. So I suspect there would be a settlement.
It's a lot of work for people like you.
Yes, the lawyers are going to be busy for
I know,
a
because
while.
just understanding it with the whole thing for cause and be these big fat contracts. Thank you, Whitney.
Sure thing.
Okay.